The Phillies, who we're going to discuss first and how their trade deadline went, they're 5-4, 61-47 overall. They went 2-1 versus Boston, 2-1 versus the Yankees, 1-2 versus the White Sox. 5-5 in their last 10. They're a half game back of the Mets, and they're 1.5 games up on wild card 2. John, how do we feel about the Phillies deadline and their direction now that we're heading into August?
Well, I feel a lot better that they finally, after I don't know how many years, got a closer.
Well, let's let him first.
We'll see how he does, though, in his first outing.
I mean,
it's been a curse there.
Because Estevez was an all-star and the best reliever in the American League before he came over to the Phillies last year.
This is true. But I bet it like Duran, I think he's on a different level than Estevez, though. I mean, this is.
How do you feel what the Phillies gave up?
Honestly, I mean, it's about what I expected. I mean, I said they were going to move Abel last week. I said he was probably going to get moved. I know some people were upset because they gave up their top catching prospect and they gave up Abel, but it's like Abel was, basically in a logjam there because of the rotation they have now. He's like behind Painter, and they have Wheeler, Nola, Luzardo, Suarez, Sanchez. I mean, there's just no room for him really. So, and he's MLB ready right now, so it's like it makes sense to trade him. And the catcher he was in A-ball, so like he wasn't going to be up for a while now.
Very good though. It's Eduardo Tate.
Eduardo Tate, yeah, thank you. Yeah, so but he's an A-ball, so but you never know. Like he's good right now, but like stuff changes, injuries happen, so it's like, and especially for the return, I think is well worth it because it was definitely like their top priority, like their top need. So I thought it was fine.
Ben, now that the Mets need to face this bullpen and these returns, how do you feel as a division mate and a division rival?
I mean, look, you don't love to see guys coming over. I think that, the Twins ended up, I heard that the Twins asking price for Harrison Bader, because apparently the Mets had called in on him as well, was very high, and I felt like the Twins kind of got him, or the Phillies got Bader for a steal, and I think part of that is because of the package that they gave up for Duran. I think the Twins kind of threw them a bone there, especially because they're like, hey, we'll just take what we can get, because no one's going to give that price for Bader. He may be having a career year offensively, but still, even for the Phillies right now, he's going to be a platoon guy who plays against lefties, and seeing him go to the Phillies hurts after, him being a part of that run last year. But I'm not worried about Bader. And look, relievers, you can't think too much about it. You just got to hope that the Phillies are going to Philly.
Look, as a non-biased, no team in the division, I liked what the Phillies did. I thought, obviously, Duran was the big piece. They needed a closer. They got a closer. They got a premier closer. When you think about this team now in big spots in the playoffs, Wheeler, Suarez, Luzardo, Sanchez, all guys that you feel pretty confident in as pitchers. When I still look at the Phillies bullpen, man, I'd love those guys to go 6 innings. Kirkring to Strom to Duran, I feel strong about. Anything else, like I'd love Jordan Romano not to play if I was a Phillies fan. And I would personally, Bader would be an everyday player for me over Max Kepler at this point, and maybe we could pinch hit Kepler against righties in a certain spot, but Bader would become my everyday outfielder personally. I'd play him in center and then Marsh in left, but I think the Phillies were smart, paid a heavy price for Duran, but kind of what we've talked about, why it was such an active deadline is everybody was in, and if you weren't in paying a price, it was going to show in the fans and it was going to show on the field. And that's why I think a lot of teams were ready to sell, because especially the closer market, you were able to charge an arm and a leg. I think that's why starters didn't really get moved. The price for closers kind of made the price on starters impossible. And not even high-level starters like Sandy and other guys. It was arm and leg prices. Yeah, Gallon, Cease, I heard, was arm and leg. where it was like, all right, these teams were just like, let's aggressively build the bullpen, bring in as many arms as those, and deal with what we got at starter. But the Phillies, obviously, they were World Series contenders before the deadline. Hard to argue that they didn't get better after the deadline.